Welcome back to Living Limitless. My name is Andrea Luzon. I am a sacred freedom coach and legacy liberator. I'm an explorer who guides women on a journey back to their passion, their power, and their purpose. This series, Living Limitless, is going to go a bit deeper in regards to barriers that some of our leaders have come across, barriers in your life that you might be struggling with, and ways to unlock those and move beyond them. And so I'd love to introduce our leader of the day, Tara Vogel. Hi, Tara. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, yeah, thanks for having me. So I am an astrologer and a coach, and I work specifically, I love to work with women, especially moms. And I do lots of things. I also run an online community for moms where we combine astrology and parenting, or just astrology and like taking good care of yourself. So yeah, I love marrying the two, parenting, which can be really freaking hard, and astrology. I call it like your best parenting hack, using astrology to understand your kids and understand yourself.
So, in your astrology studies, do you find that shame plays a role in our awakening process, coming back into our joy, our freedom, our childlike wonder, and our courage?
Yeah. So that question, again, I'm an astrologer, so everything relates planetarily for me. So that question makes me think about our solar energy, like our masculine, um, our expressive energy, and our divine feminine, which is the feminine is the moon. That's dark. It's the mystery. It's the void. And so we, as a culture, we value, right, the light and the expression, and let's all be happy, and the feminine gets devalued, and we don't want to go there, and we don't want to look there, but yet this is where all of our power is. And so yeah, we need to honor the sun, and we need to honor the moon, our light and our darkness. And this is in the community, this is what I share about each day. And it's really like, for example, I'll give you, Andrea, what I report about, what I share with them each day through a voice text is what's happening in the sky and how they can use it and move with it down here. So the moon is always the driver, and the sun is the expression. So if we don't honor our feminine and our moon and the dark, it's just like, it's unnatural. The moon is the emotional, like the yeah, it's what gives to the light, but yet in our culture we only want to do the light, we only want to do the solar thing, the masculine thing.
This is landing with me on so many levels because I feel like I've been exposed to, I've had multiple astrology readings, and yet the way you are interpreting it for me right now is just, yeah, totally. So I almost hear you saying that the feminine or the moon energy is like the almost like the impulse, the whisper, the guidance, and then the expressive piece is the masculine and the sun.
Yeah, and so we have to do both and take both into consideration. But our culture is masculine. It's like, can't we just all be happy, or can't we all work really hard? And it's like, no, the feminine says rest, regenerate yourself, go into the dark, especially now, as I'm dating this, but we are in the balsamic moon right now. By the time this gets launched, we'll be in the next moon phase. But this is the time where this is the balsamic moon is like right before we bleed as women. So it is this time where we need to be by ourselves. We're not supposed to be busy, but our culture is just like solar, 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 go, 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 do, do, do. And then, and then she doesn't get valued. And she is where all of our power lives. And when you talk about shame, getting really intimate with shame is the way to it's the way to find our power. It's those things that we don't want to talk about and are harder to feel, that we tend to push down, but yet that's where all the treasures are and the good stuff. So yeah.
So a phrase that I've used a lot is wounds as wisdom. Wounds
Yeah.
as wisdom. And I feel like you're communicating that if we can get in touch with that shame story or that wounding, then we can get back in touch with those impulses and that driver or that mystery that you were referring to, and then be able to move forward from that place.
Yeah. I love that. I also say like the treasure is in the trigger. So when we get triggered, it's like, oh, this stuff is wanting to come up and it's uncomfortable, but it's like, that's where all the good stuff is. Go there, experience that, embody that. The feminine is about being embodied. And so it's like even when we talk about shame, it's best processed, in my opinion, in my work, not so much up here, but through the body, embodying that, feeling that, moving that, expressing that, dancing that, all those things. So, yeah. But yeah, so treasure is in the trigger, same, same. It's, yeah, there's a lot of good stuff there.
Mhm. So, can we jump straight to joy, freedom, and playfulness if we haven't unpacked our shame story?
No, because again, the sun can't shine all the time, right? What would
Mhm.
our world be like with only light? Like we have to honor the darkness. We have to bow down to it is night. We rest, we regenerate for the next day. I mean, there's the daily cycle of the sun and the moon, and then there's also the moon's monthly cycle. Then we have the yearly cycle of the sun. We learn all about this in the community that I run, but no, you need both. You need the feminine and the masculine. And
Mhm.
so, and when one gets honored over the other, especially when the feminine is devalued, she will not stand for that. And again, she runs the show. She creates the momentum for the sun, the solar, the light, the expansion, and so no, we need both. That would be like saying, like, can it just be sunny all the time and then
Right.
we not have darkness? It's not going to
Yeah.
work.
Right. Can I just never sleep? I heard Eleanor Roosevelt only slept like 3 to 4 hours a night. But I also
Oh,
know that she wasn't that like her relationship wasn't working. I think
oh,
they
interesting.
had separate lives. I've read a few books about them, and I was pretty surprised with how that was going in their
Yeah.
relationship.
I would
So,
like to
right.
see her. I'd like to see her natal chart. We all have a natal chart. It's basically a map of where all the planets were in the sky
Mhm.
on the daytime and place you were born. And it's one of the greatest, I just think it's like everybody should understand their
Mhm.
natal chart, because there's a lot of good stuff there.
I've seen on, I believe it was TikTok, where a person who was very successful on TikTok, she would do natal charts for the stars. Not for them, but she would share with her
Yeah.
platform on the platform. And the most entertaining one was Britney Spears. It was like, this is
Mhm.
why this is happening. It was
Oh,
very,
right. Yeah.
yeah. And I could
Yep.
see why she was getting a lot of clicks because people love to follow the ongoings of the stars, not the stars in the sky, but the famous people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so she was doing really, really well because she was reading about the stars.
Yeah.
So, have there been pivotal moments in your life as an adult or on your entrepreneurial journey or as a mother that have like brought up wounding stories or shame stories from your childhood or your past?
Um, that's a good question. So, I really believe that the way to heal is through, like, this can be interesting, but the way to really heal, especially the feminine wounding that's, rampant on the planet, is through your body and not in the mind. So a lot of my healing has come through very bodily experiences like ecstatic dance. I don't necessarily know, what is being healed at the moment, but there's emotion definitely coming through me. There's expression, and then it moves and then it's out. So there's that. And then also, one of my own personal healings have come through plant medicine, because a lot of times when we have very deep, this is such a Scorpio topic. We're in Scorpio season right now. Shame is under that umbrella of things that Scorpio just loves, because there's such good stuff down there in the dark, in those feelings that we don't want to feel, that are really hard to feel. Shame is just right up there. Um, it's like, what was I saying? I was talking about, I'm a Pisces rising. I always lose my train of thought. So
I think you were
the
going to go into a
healing,
story from your past.
yeah, well, so, right. I find that the healing really comes when I'm not in my mind. So when I'm dancing, I'm not in my mind, I'm in my body. When I was doing plant medicine ceremonies over in Peru, I wasn't thinking about it, but there was an incident from when I was little that I didn't even remember, but the medicine really helped bring it up. And I was able to actually process it through my body and just let my body move in the way it did. And I wasn't, thinking about the situation that happened so much as just allowing the medicine, and the medicine can be plant medicine, the medicine can be dance, the medicine can be connection with another. There's so many different medicines that we can use rather than just talking about it. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but I tend to believe that's just the body is the way to heal, and the body remembers stuff that we don't remember up here.
Yeah, I've heard that, or it's come to my understanding that a lot of our stories just they live in our cells. So a lot
Yeah.
of times, like, especially fight, flight, freeze, fawn, it's a whole different part of us that's activated in that moment, like to the point where we can be potentially not even fully engaged. We're just like the body just takes over because we're reacting from that place.
Yeah. I mean, I really do find that if you want to work on those really harder to feel things like shame, personally, I've been trained in the internal family systems model of psychotherapy. I think that's a really great, because that goes right there. It feels like a very balanced therapy with the solar, masculine, feminine moon. We're not just like going to try to change our thoughts and, well, let's just get you out of that pattern by thinking it's not about that. It's going in to what the thing is that's hard, what the feeling is, what the darkness is, that it's really difficult to feel, what the trauma is. So if I am going to use that when I do my work, I pull on my internal family systems training. And also, what's happening when I'm working with a client in their natal chart.
Mhm. Yeah. So when you were talking about the ecstatic dance and plant medicine, I'm hearing modalities or possibilities or processes that people can experience as ways of shifting that energy, that stuckness that might, if we're finding that we're reactive and we haven't yet looked at it, it sounds like those are a couple of things that have worked for you in ways to up level and move forward.
Yeah. Anything that works with the body, even tantra, it's because things like shame, or those harder to feel things like fear, intimacy, they get really brought up when we come together with another, especially in relationship. So doing the deeper work of like tantra, where it's again, it's an embodiment of your essence and how that jives with another and coming together. So yeah, I actually have a lot of Scorpio in my chart. So those deeper therapies really resonate with me.
Mhm. Yeah. I think because of COVID, I mean, there's ecstatic dance. How would you describe ecstatic dance? Maybe some of our listeners aren't familiar with that term.
Yeah, it's a type of dance where it's like you're not dancing to the music is dancing you. And you're just and it's always, setting an intention. It's ecstatic dance is not just like this ecstatic dance that resonates with me is not like, let's just all get together and dance, which can be super fun. Like, I'm not saying anything about that, but really for the healing work, there's an altar, there's the space that's held, there's the intention that we come together to dance, to move, to heal ourselves and the collective. But yeah, you're not thinking about how you're going to dance. You just let the music move you and trust that that's why, people can get emotional when they're dancing or angry when they're, and I'm not going to think about it. I'm going to just move it through me. It might be shame. It might be grief. A lot of times grief comes through because dancing is such a feminine thing. You soften and surrender to whatever wants to come through. So it's a very embodied thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love what you said about you're not dancing to the music is dancing you.
Yeah.
That really lands with me. I have this moonlight, and sometimes when I'm here in this office space, I will, it's dark outside, it's pitch black up here. If I turn off all the lights, and then I light up this moonlight, and you can choose the color, or it can, move through all of the colors that
Yeah.
it has. And just sometimes just turning on some music or even wearing sound canceling headphones and just moving around, I definitely can get that feeling that I'm being danced.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels amazing. Something I should do every night.
Yeah. My favorite ecstatic dance practice is Five Rhythms. And Gabrielle Roth, she wrote like 3 books. Can't recommend them enough. If that feels like we feel what's our medicine, like if we're paying attention, we know what calls to us. So, if you feel like ecstatic dance calls to you, especially if you know astrology and you have some strong water in your chart, especially Pisces. Pisces is the dancer, and that could be beautiful medicine for you.
Hmm, I
Yeah.
appreciate that. Are there other steps that you've taken in your life that have assisted you in clearing what has not served you in the past or any stuck energy in your life?
Dance was a major one. Plant medicine was a major one. Just learning astrology, because really what my gateway into astrology was, I was a mom. I had a 3-year-old. I was pregnant. I gave birth to Eva. She is the one that I write about on my website. And she wasn't developing, we had this beautiful natural birth. We couldn't figure out what was wrong, but she wasn't developing, really wasn't developing. We went to tried everything mainstream and alternative. And then I was just almost burnt out. And somebody said, she was 5. And somebody said, have you ever had her astrology chart read? And I said, what's that? I know I'm a Capricorn and she's a Pisces. And so I went and I met with this astrologer, and he never met Eva, but told me all about her life and in her incarnation. And I was like blown away. And I thought, oh my gosh, I need to get my chart read next. And so it was so helpful because she's a soul on a different path. And it helped me to understand this like soul curriculum, which is essentially, your natal chart, what that was for her. And so then I had my chart read, and he was reading my chart, and I was like, I know that's in me, but that's not who I'm being. And so I was just way off my path, and I just wasn't doing a lot of my chart. And so that was like a big wake up call. And dancing, being embodied on a regular basis, I just committed to, because it was something that was always calling me, but it was also a little scary, because I think there was a part of me that knew when I start moving and I start healing, my life around me is going to change, which it completely did. And I ended up leaving a marriage where he was just an amazing person, but we were not a good match together. We couldn't be our true selves, and just like a lot of stuff we didn't look at. So ultimately, that dance really led me to things like, that just had me heal and step into who I really was, and, which reflected my soul curriculum, which I was here to do. But dance, that embodiment was key. I wouldn't have gotten there through just intellectually processing things. We
Yeah.
tried that, many years of trying that. It just didn't work.
Right.
So yeah, it was the astrology, but then again, that embodiment piece that helped me get to where I needed to be.
Yeah. It sounds like a perfect marriage on a path to healing for sure. Well, we talked about demonstrating some of your work, and I feel like you've done I feel like I am understanding astrology more, even just from what you've shared, about the sun and the moon, and then even, can you tell us a little bit about how being a Pisces and learning more about your daughter's chart supported her journey?
Yeah, I mean, as a mom, it's really helpful, right? I have three different kids and they all have a different soul curriculum. And so understanding that, Eva's sensitivity, she's a double Pisces, her sun and moon. So when she was born at a new moon because they were both in the same sign. So it's such a very, very sensitive, like so sensitive. And then there's a lot about her chart that points to having a different experience down here in the earth, really wanting to learn to, as a soul, how to incarnate in your body and be fully in your body and, physical. So she has definitely physical limitations. But then my other child is one of my other kids is just all fire and air. And knowing that what's fascinating, Andrea, is that where the moon is in your chart or even your kid's chart, it's how you need to be nurtured. And it's also your perception of your mom. So I have three different kids with three different moon signs, and I'm the same mom. So they all see me in a different way. And so that's
Mhm.
helpful to know that. And it's also helpful for me to know how they need to be nurtured and how they need to be loved,
Mhm.
and so there's many permutations of that.
Mhm.
So yeah, does that answer your question? I forget that question.
It really
Sorry.
does. It really does. I think you were saying that she gets to, experience being in the body and stepping forward fully into her body. I think I was hearing that.
Yeah, so it is really helpful to know, what's happening just even with your kids' sun, moon, and rising. We all
Mhm.
have one. The sun
Mhm.
was somewhere, the moon was somewhere, and there was a sign that was rising on the eastern horizon when we were all born, when we took our first breath and we came into our body. So, and that's such a big part of us. And even to understand your kids but even yourself, it's like, oh, it makes like, people think that there's I wish I wasn't like this. I think there's something wrong with me. And then you understand, your astrological makeup, like, oh, I actually just came to be this way. I'm not going to be the fun one that, wants to go out and party. I tend to be more serious. And that's just what I've come to, the archetypes that I've come to experience life through.
Mhm.
So yeah, we have this pattern of like just making ourselves wrong for actually the way we are and how we've come to be. It's kind of crazy.
Oh, I can relate to that.
Yeah.
I have in the past, I've been an expert at doubting myself after taking a certain step or something like that.
Yeah.
For sure. I'm sure some of our listeners can relate. So, a question that has come up as I have moved along this journey of this interview series, and it has been about receiving messages. Maybe it's intuition or guidance from the universe. If someone was saying that they're struggling with like trusting themselves or trusting their intuition or even just learning how to tune into their intuition or guidance, what would you say to that person?
Yeah. I mean, remember that I'm an astrologer. So astrology is very, very insightful. So really understanding your Mercury sign, and you can go to Astro because Mercury is the way your mind works, also your moon sign, because your moon is your intuitive body. Like understanding the planets in the sky are just different parts of us. So moon is intuition and that feeling, our feeling body, our emotional body. Mercury is how our mind works. So it can give you insight to how you process information and how your intuition works. Mine just, I just have a knowing. It's like a lightning. My Mercury in the sky when I was born was talking to the planet Uranus. So mine comes in lightning bolts, and I just know. And for many years, it was like, well, why can't I hear things, or why can't I visualize, my intuition? It just doesn't work that way. So it's like a little bit of knowing your astrology chart and or your kids is a little bit of a life hack for yourself if you're a mom or just a person, even if you're not a mom. And for your kids, it's like a really good parenting hack. You just get like the inside scoop on them or you. And that can be really helpful.
That sounds supportive and also not hard to find. So thank you. That's a great tool that we can
Yeah.
utilize. Oh, I feel
Yeah.
like,
And another really simple thing, because I am a body person, is in like before I really understood my chart, one of the ways that I would do it is I would just use my body. And, I would stand there, using your body as a pendulum. If this situation is in my best and highest good, show me. And a yes would be I would feel my body move forward. A no would be I would feel my body move backwards. And and it doesn't matter one way or the other. Just kind of like the body stays still. And so the more I did my embodied healing work, the more I got in touch with, if I'm ever in doubt, I second check it with my body. I use my body as a pendulum. Some people do dowsing, because then I get to feel. So that's like if I doubt my intuition, that's my backup.
that is fun. I love that exercise.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
pendulum.
It's called something. You could even Google using your body as a pendulum. And then it's really simple. And I have my kids do it, and it's amazing. Like when it's like, oh, you really feel like you're not moving yourself, but you get moved. Again, it's that the energy moves through you. You're not doing anything. Yeah.
That is a fun guidance right there. Using your body as a pendulum. I will look into that. I have
Yeah.
twins. So I get to talk with them about, I get to talk to you later about how do you read charts for twins that are
Yeah.
born the same minute. That is
Yeah.
interesting.
Yep. You
Yes.
do. Yeah. They play out different parts of the natal chart. And a lot of moms will say, can I just do the reading together since it's the same chart? It's like, no, because they're two different kids. You know that,
Yeah, my twins.
they've come here before with different experiences. They come into the same chart, the same kind of curriculum, but with different histories, different soul DNA. So yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, that supports me as a mother of twins.
Yeah.
Well, in my experience, you have been so generous, Tara, during your time here during this interview, supporting our audience. I understand that you have a gift that you would like to share. Can you tell us where to find it? And also, where can we find you on which platforms?
Sure. So if you go to my website, luminaryparenting.com, everybody knows where the sun was when they were born. And so, right, what's your sun sign?
Sagittarius.
Sagittarius. So, yeah, I'm a Capricorn. Everybody knows that.
Right.
It's what they don't know, unless you go to astro.com or pull up your chart, is where your moon was and where your Mercury was rising. So everybody knows their sun sign. So I have on my website, you can download like what your sun sign, so yours would be Sagittarius, says about the way that you mother, the way that you mother your kids. So yeah, you can go on there and download that. It's an ebook. And where to find me is on Instagram. And every day I'm giving how to work, what's happening up there and how it can show up down here. And my goal is really connection, for us to really see, I'm passionate about connection. for us to see how connected we really are. Like, wow, I am feeling this Libra moon in Scorpio season. And I didn't know what that meant before, but Tara told me in the morning. And so I post every day on Instagram, and the community, we just dive deeper. We apply it to your natal chart. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff that happens at the community in the community, and it's really an affordable monthly rate to join. So kind of flies under the radar, and it's just, again, you're just getting that everyday connection, because I really think the time that we're living in right now is we're confused. We don't know what's going on. There's a consciousness shift that's happening, and we can't look out there. We can't look, the answers are here. And so the more we can return to the way we used to live, which was very, very connected to the sky, right? What's happening up there, the more we can understand what's happening in here. And that's the goal, because that's where all the answers are. So that's what I really help you tweak and understand and refine in the community. But I'm also on Instagram at Luminary Parenting.
Awesome. And that we can find you in all of those places. And this ebook of how your sun sign, which is when someone says, "What's your sign?" You know,
Yeah.
what sign are you? How your your sun sign affects how it can come out in your parenting. I love that. That serves me.
Yeah. And if you're not a mom, it will still come out in your relationships, in the way that you care for your partner, or you're still going to be able to relate to it. So yeah, and what I do, I mean, I do astrology for all kinds of people. You don't have to be moms. There are many people in our community, the Luminary Parenting community, that aren't moms. It's a very healing thing when you can parent yourself and give yourself the parenting that you might not have gotten when you were younger.
Mhm.
It's such a healing balm that we all need right now. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what I love about your posts that I've seen, the daily posts, is it is as I know your ideal client is a parent, and yet the way I experience the daily share on how the moon and the sky are affecting our day, it really feels like it's something that anyone could take in and apply to what they might experience.
Yeah, I totally. And I have this little, um, the reason I really wanted that, to up the ante a little bit for parents, is because parenting is hard. And I lost myself when I became a mom. I really lost myself. Got way off my path, as I said. And it was that connection to the sky, literally the sky of me when I was born, that got me back on my path and got me back on, and had the courage to do the healing work that needed to be done and make the decisions that had to be made. And so, yeah, yeah, yes, yes, yes.
Yes, so that guidance is appreciated.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Tara, so much. I kind of want to call you Luminary. Thank you, Luminary Parent. Thank you, Tara, so much for your time and for the gift that you're sharing. And to the audience, you can find the link either here on this page, or else keep an eye on your email inbox, because we will send you at the end of the series. We'll send a list of all of the free gifts, including their links, to you in your inbox. So that should be a fun gift to receive. Oh, and lastly, don't forget to join the Awake Free community on Facebook, because throughout this series, you'll get extra support and also hear about upcoming workshops in all of this exploration of reawakening yourself, rediscovering yourself. And I'll be putting on some of those workshops, and maybe even some of the speakers will be coming back in to be in that group with us. So thank you, Tara, for your
Yeah,
time.
welcome.
Thank you.
Sure.
And thank you, everyone. We'll see you again next time.